What breaks your heart? What is it that moves you? What is it in our community that bothers you, you believe needs to change? What is it in our society? What is it around you that you believe needs to change? Something that could be and something that should be. Something that needs to happen. Something that needs repairing. Something that needs restoring. Lives that are broken. People that are hurt. Things that move us. When is the last time your heart was broken over the conditions of our world? Or do we turn a blind eye? Has our heart become hardened because we figure out, I can't change it all? And no, you can't. But you can make a difference. See, the problem is, and here's the dilemma. We fall into this area of complacency where we don't do anything because we think we can't fix it all, but we have to put our eyes on God. No, we can't fix it, but God can. And we need to be willing to say, God, here is my life. Again, like I said, Dr. King, he realized, you see, you and I, all of us in this room, have no idea what it would have been like to be raised and to live like he was living. Because in that time in America it's a time we're ashamed of. It's a long time that we don't like to look back on. But we struggled in this nation to live up to the values that we said we believed. We said all of these things are apparent. All of these things are self-evident, that all mankind were created equal by God. But we didn't live those values. And so even though we got beyond the curse of slavery, we still were left with a nation that was divided. We were still left with a people that were segregated, that were alienated and separated, and it wasn't right. And he was like the situation going, know what? I know people have been living this way, and that's what, this week, and I was preparing for this message, I read Dr. King's letters from the Birmingham jail, because so many in the Christian community, so many even ministers, we're saying, hey, why do you have to do what you got to do? Why are you doing all this? Just let time take its place. And he's like, what? What breaks my heart is you're not in this with me, that you don't see what could be and should be. And he gave his life to seeing a change occur. Nehemiah gave his life. He left his cushy job. He left his security in the palace and said, you know what? I'm going to go to the king. And here's the plot. He went to the king and said, what? I want you to give me the opportunity to leave my job. And I want to go back and rebuild the walls around the city of my heritage. And I'd like you to finance that. That's big and bold. But you see, when God is moving in a situation, nothing is impossible. And you know what Xerxes said at that time? Because he's the third now leader in this end. Xerxes says, yeah, I'll finance it and I'll even do you one better. I'll send my army to protect you on the way. See, with God, nothing is impossible in this end. And you see, Dr. King was willing to give his life because of why? He had a vision that drove him. We remember it because it was probably his most famous speech, the one he's most remembered for. Look at this. I took a piece of it in this, but the I Have a Dream speech that he gave in 1963 at the Lincoln Memorial. And he said this is a part of his speech. He said, I have a dream. This is his vision. This is what he believed could be and should be. He said, I have a dream that my 4 children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. How can you be a follower of Christ and not believe that that's something that could be and should be? He said, I have a dream that one day right there in Alabama, little black boys and little black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and little white girls as sisters and brothers. He went on to say, I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley will be exalted. See, Dr. King's vision was grounded in God. He realized that God was in this, that this is something that we needed to reckon with. This is something that you can't ignore, that you can't pretend. This is something that could be and should be. Every valley will be exalted and every hill and mountain be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. Why? That was the core of his faith, because he went back to say, this is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the south with. This is the faith that will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. This is the faith that will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. That is vision. That's what drove him. That's what him. But listen to me, you're like sitting out there and going, well, Pastor Ken, what has this got to do with me? I mean, I'm raising kids, I'm working a job. What has this all got to do with me? But here's the point. If you're a Christ follower, this has everything to do with you and me. Because and notice I used the term, I didn't say, are you a Christian? Because people define Christian any old way they think. But being a Christ follower means that you're following the example of Jesus. That you want to emulate the life of Jesus. See, the vision that Jesus had was that this ecclesia, the church, would be his body. And so Jesus, you can't read the words of Jesus and it not mess with you, not make you realize that I need to live to make the world a better place. Because Jesus said, you are the light of the world. See, light doesn't benefit itself. It benefits everybody else around it. He said, you are the salt. Salt preserves. Salt gets involved. Salt doesn't do any good in a shaker. And that's the problem. Too many salty Christians are in the church and they need to be shaken out on the world. Because we need to make a difference. We need to allow our lives to be led, listen, by Jesus only gave us one command. He gave us one command, to love. What? To love God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love our neighbor as ourselves.